Meeting Sherman County Board of Commissioners, come to order, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. We approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed.
And I'll make a motion, we approve the previous minutes.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. We approve the previous minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed.
And I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
147.
03555. I'll second that motion.
Been moved and seconded. We pay the bills. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. We have the fire alarm specialist contract. And I'm assuming this is the same continued contract from years past.
Did that price increase?
I don't, two places to sign on it.
Is that a local company?
No, that's out of Waukene.
Okay.
We're about the only ones that do it, I think.
Yeah, in this area, for sure, this district.
Is that one for the courthouse? Or the health?
I think it's for the
Courthouse,
if I
yeah.
remember correctly.
2215. 215 is annual. That's the one.
Well, all that it has here is the hours, the rates. Yeah, 2,215.
Yeah, so it stayed the same.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion that we continue our fire alarm contract with fire alarm specialists, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. We have, I don't know if this needs to be notarized or just witnessed, just witnessed.
Did you sign both of them?
I signed both sheets, yes. Everybody had a chance to see the fire board, minutes.
Yes.
Looks like the, on task to get the new, quick attack trucks.
Yes. I thought they had gone in already, but they're going in this week.
This week, yeah, it's 28th, so.
And maybe fire board will update us a little bit on that, but Mike Cochran was telling me that there's a few recalls on those two cabin chassis units. They're
Okay.
gonna try to find a dealer. No local dealers work on that size of truck. So maybe they'll fill us in on that a little bit too when they come.
Okay.
They're gonna try to get that work done down around the Salina area when they're getting built.
They're getting the, engine to the, stuff all, the bugs all worked out.
Yeah, there's always some little things on those new trucks.
Yeah. Payroll. Have a note here, citywide cleanup, the landfill will not accept tires, refrigerators, freezers, or air conditioners, and concrete, or,
Rod Roder's coming in.
okay,
He'll talk about that.
okay.
We'll
And-
talk about rescheduling that meeting as well.
Yeah, let's reschedule for the fifth,
14th.
14th of
15th.
15th of May, that's a Thursday.
Thank you guys for doing that.
Well, I'll make a motion, we move our next meeting to Thursday, the 15th from the 12th.
A second?
Been moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed.
I did see the email from Aaron Duell about electrical panel at the fairgrounds. Do we need to have
We-
Aaron come in or
We need to either have him or we need to get some bids.
bids? That's what I was, I
Yeah,
think
because-
just an approximate,
Yeah, that's not gonna work too
no.
good. So I will get a hold of Aaron.
You wanna just have him get a couple bids?
Yes,
And
yeah.
then,
Yeah, cause he's gonna know what he wants and, you know,
Mhm.
we can get a couple of bids to see where,
looking at his drawings and what he's wanting to do, I think that's a good idea.
it's, you know, way back when, surprised we didn't fry some of the wiring out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And with a lot of these, food trucks and everything.
The concession trailers that park right in front, they don't have enough power.
Yeah. So, yeah, I will contact Aaron.
I did talk to Tina Wollock after her strategic meeting that she had. Said they had about 50 people there, and three main topics were trying to make a trail to get out to Walmart from the city. There's a lot of people that walk out there and ride bikes out there, and they're trying to think of how they can make a trail out there. They talked about the city bus. That was another pretty big issue, and a splash pad. Those three things were probably the top of the lists. I just told her that if there's anything that she needs from the county, to make sure she comes up and talks to us, so.
What'd you say the third one was, a splash pad?
Splash pad, been trying to do that splash pad in the park over there by the Lutheran church.
Good morning, Mr. Cochran. You have others coming, Mike?
Brian, I think is supposed to be here pretty soon.
Okay. I know they were out on a call,
Oh, they are out on call right now?
well, ambulance call. I saw
Okay.
his vehicle. So,
We might give him a couple more minutes,
okay,
unless you got other stuff you need.
No, but if you wanna fill us in on anything,
Oh,
you're
sure.
welcome to come on up
Sure.
and,
Yeah.
Sounds good. Everything's going well. Our two trucks will leave this week to go to Watts to get the beds put on those, new quick attacks for Canarado and Goodland. They did a couple modifications on Canarados. What they're doing is they're gonna add some extra nozzles on the side, so challenge with that department is you're so limited in everybody's farming. Yeah, it's just a bare minimums department. Somebody needs to run a truck. It's going to get, you'll have your monitor on the front plus some extra nozzles on the side. And then they added an extra 100 gallons of water on that truck over what we were originally looking at. So it's going to add about $2,800, $3,000 price of the truck. But the nice thing is one guy. If you've got one guy, you can get in there.
somebody's in the truck, they can.
You
fight.
get water from the side, water from the front. That was kind of one of the reasons why we upgraded that truck in Canarado, is just when you have those situations, you need to be able to get one truck that can do a lot of work. and do it with the potential of having 1 or 2 firefighters available
Yeah.
until Goodland can get there. So, the trucks, we also did get a notice, and I guess Brian, I'm speaking, he's seen the notice. There is a recall on the trucks that they have to reprogram the DEF system on them. So we'll try to, while we've got it down there, we'll have to take it. The worst thing is when you get in that bigger series of trucks, you don't have the ability to take it to your local Chevy dealer. They're not allowing them to do the updates for us. So while we've got it down there, we're going to try to find if Salina or there's a close truck dealer while we got the trucks down there and get those updates done to get those taken care of. So I think that's, like I said, they should leave sometime. The week of the 28th is what I think Brian was talking about. I was talking about those quick attacks going to Watts.
Oh, yes,
And I
today.
told him about the upgrades that Brewster's doing, or not Brewster, but Canarrow's doing on that extra.
Yeah, a couple of valves that are
Yeah.
spraying water on the ground and everything else, so.
Yeah, I think the total was like, I think he got back with me, it was a little over 3,000 for the upgrades and that extra 100 gallons of water in the tank.
Mhm.
And then Goodland's got the extra 100 gallons,
Extra 200.
or 200, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause it was 600 and bumped it up
So
to
there might be a
800 gallons.
slight increase, but it'll be worth it to have the extra water on the truck.
Oh, by far.
So,
Because we're losing, because brush 1 is replacing engine 11, which engine 11 has 1,000 gallons of water on it. The brush 1 is on a 6500 chassis, GMC 6500 chassis. So we thought it was only going to be able to hold 600 gallons, so we're losing 400 gallons of water. But Watts Manufacturing came out and said, no, we can actually put 800 gallons of water on it. And I said, even better. So I said, at least we're only losing 200 gallons instead of 400 gallons. So that's what they said they could do. Same thing, Canarredo. Canarredo is actually increasing because they're going to get rid of their truck 3, which only has a 300 gallon tank. So this 5500 chassis is going to have a 600 gallon tank on it. So they're actually increasing their water on grass fires to 300 gallons. So they should be able to put out a lot more fire.
So the trucks you're getting rid of, you put them on auction is what you do?
Yeah, we'll put them on whatever auction site that the fire board decides to put them on, and then see what we get. So kind of like the old City Engine 2, it got auctioned off, went down to Winona. Only got, I think, a little over 13,000 for it. So the only thing that killed that vehicle was that it was a gas engine, so a 454 gasser, and it was a manual transmission. So if it was a diesel, it probably would have got quite a bit more money for it. So, but it is what it is. I'm glad we got what we got.
Yep.
So we can put that money towards another fire apparatus. So because that's what we obviously told the city commission, was that whatever we auction off as a fire apparatus, we'd put that money towards, which the fire board was already in agreement to that way before the city commission was already wanting us to do that. But it only makes good business sense to, if you're going to sell an apparatus, use that money to put towards another apparatus in the future. So, especially things are, as we all know, just like everything else, I mean, that pin in your hand probably cost $10 more than it did 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So anyways, fire apparatus is no different. So, yeah.
Is there a build time on these 2 trucks you're sending
So
down?
according to Watts, he was thinking probably like 3 months. And this week he was actually supposed to put his hands on them and actually start building them
Right.
this week. He's a little over a month behind schedule. So I'm hoping to have both of these trucks, maybe September-ish.
Okay.
I'm hoping.
I did mention those recalls that we'll have to have.
Yeah, I have to send them down to.
Send it to some place to
Yeah.
a Chevy or GM dealer to work on. I think it's mostly a programming thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, some of the emissions. They're both diesels, so it was monitoring.
Mostly it just takes somebody to hook up their computer to that computer and
Yeah.
Problem is that it's those heavy duty
The truck
GM
division.
trucks that our dealership here can't touch. I think anything over 35 or 4,500, our dealership can't touch it. So they can't even look at it. I asked them one time. We had a little deal come up on our new cabin chassis when I brought it up from Austin, Texas, and I asked them if they could take a look at it, and they said, no, we're not going to touch it. We can't even hook our computer up to it.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, that's kind of ridiculous.
But it's like everything.
Yeah.
It's so specialized.
So, but did you talk about the?
No, on the city deal, I think you.
Yeah. So if you guys have read the agreement that was made back in 21, that was approved by the county and city commission, and then put in effect in January 1st of 2022. So it's been 3 years now. It says that the city commission or the city would give the budgeted money that was from the 2020 budget.
Right.
So, well, it's been 5 years now, and that budget obviously is very low compared to what we probably need to be getting to help offset the costs to maintain fire apparatus, city apparatus, maintain equipment, SCBA's, extrication equipment, bunker gear, the whole 9 yards, right? So I already talked to the city manager. I already gave him a heads up that the fire board was looking at asking for a 3% increase on the city side. That wasn't going to be a humongous amount to scare the city commission. I know the city commission every year, they really trim their budget a lot. So I know a little bit of an increase, like a 3% increase, wouldn't be a huge detriment, I wouldn't think, to the city. So, but per the agreement, and Brett could probably correct me if I'm wrong, but we have to go through, talk to you guys first,
Right.
get your guys' approval for the 3% increase. And then I think then you guys then go to the city commission and then ask for the 3% increase, and then it has to be done before June 1st.
Okay.
So that's kind of why we're here today, to ask you guys if you guys are in agreement with it, and then need to set a time and date that I don't want to tell you guys what to do because you guys are the county commission. So, but you guys need to get with the city commission and
I think
ask
you
for-
got some a schedule coming up, don't you? Where
I
you're going
think
to
we're
be
trying-
meeting?
Working on it.
Working on a schedule that we're looking now.
And then that wouldn't go effect until 26.
correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's next year's budget. Okay.
And that's why they want to do it before June
Yes.
1st because
Right. To-
obviously we're working on our budget, the
Right.
city's working on their budget, and then it obviously gets approved in July or August, whenever the next year's budget gets
Okay.
approved. So yeah. So obviously we're just asking you guys for approval for a 3% increase on the city side for 2026 budget, and then go from there.
Another thing is we were looking at after, well, it's a twofold. One is I wanted to talk to the county commissioners. We've kind of talked amongst ourselves as a board. We'd like to maybe this summer do some kind of a thank you for everybody that was out on 28 on the interstate deal. Maybe all the first responders. Maybe do something like in the park where everybody could bring a lawn chair that was a first responder. Invite everybody to just come out and maybe do a meal. The question is where would you like us to pull the funds from, just out of our budget? Is that okay to do something like that as a thank you?
I would say if you have it, if it's okay.
Yes.
And then Brian also has gotten
They're accommodation bars. So, and then so everybody who was on there deserves a gratitude of something
Right.
that they can keep for the rest of their lives, right? So it's accommodation bar. So it's basically what this is, and they can wear it on their uniforms like that in the future. So, but the problem is the company that makes them it said the 8 to 12 weeks. Now it's been over a month now that I've ordered them, so we're probably looking at 4 weeks out,
Okay.
4 or
But
6 weeks out.
what's your input on that? I assume probably you're on board with
Yeah.
considering what those guys
Yeah.
and that was just Brian. I can't commend him enough, and everybody worked out there on that thing. I wasn't here, but what they went through and what they got the job done. What did you say, about 2.5 hours? You had pretty much everybody extricated out. That was
We had everybody extricated within an hour.
Yeah.
We were done with the call Probably we were out there for about 4 hours probably total, but we had ever extricated by an hour, within an hour.
which that is amazing. Then that goes on to another question. As I said, the board asked Brian, what do you need that would made that situation work better? And they would like to go to a different a different type of jaw system. It's you call them
They're called hydraulics, so they're
Hydraulics.
battery operated
Kinda like
extrication
the-
equipment.
Yeah,
So the issues that we had out there was we had so many, and we were looking at these already even
Yes,
before this
yeah,
vehicle
that's
accident. We were talking about it last year. So we have Hurst equipment on the county side, and they're hydraulic Hurst equipment, and they were purchased in 2008, 2007-ish time. So you don't think that's that old, but Hurst no longer services those. Well, they'll service them. They just won't have parts for those pieces of equipment anymore. So I now have a $12,000 paperweight sitting in my office because they can't get parts for it anymore. It's a RAM, and what it does is it hydraulics out and it pushes a dashboard off of somebody's legs like that. Anyways, they can't get parts for it, so there it sits. Point is that everybody's going to hydraulics now, which is battery operated equipment, just because battery operated things are getting more efficient and you get more life out of batteries now. So TNT, we went and we tested or went side by side with TNT and Amcus, and because Brewster Fire has a Amcus combination tool, battery operated tool, which it cuts and spreads. That's what a combination tool is. Anyways, we tested them side by side. We had a training, and everybody loved the TNTs. So we got a quote. Again, this was even before the mass casualty deal, and it was a little over $30,000 for a cutter, a spreader, and a ram. So those would be the three pieces of equipment that we put on the rescue. So we take that hydraulic equipment off of Rescue 1, put the hydraulics on, and then we use that for our main extrication system. So, but going back to the vehicle accidents that we had on the 14th of March, we had to, as you can imagine, we had to go down the line and find who was trapped in their vehicles. So after we got done with one extrication, we didn't have to reel up all of our hydraulic hose, put all of our equipment back in the truck, drive down, and then re-reel all the hydraulic hose back out. Or on 66, we have a TNT hydraulic system, which is from the city. It was on ladder 1. We moved over to 66. We actually had to physically take the pump off, which that thing weighs about 50, 60 pounds, carry it around to different vehicles that needed extricated, along with all the hose and everything else. So if you didn't have all that hose and pump and everything else, you just have the unit itself as a battery operated unit, you can just get it right in there and not have to worry about all the hose and pump system. So
there was a company back when I was teaching farm medic that Powerhawk was the name of that company, and it was very impressive what they could do with that at that time, and that's been 10, 12 years ago when we didn't have lithium batteries and that. So
yeah, I'm sure those batteries back then were probably this big.
yeah, they were.
They were probably pretty big, probably crazy heavy too.
Well, they actually had a battery pack that you could stick on the guy's back,
Oh,
and
gotcha.
you know, and then a little bit of a jumper, you know, plug in and that. But that still made it more efficient. One person could carry the tool and the pack, and so.
Ron, is that something that you could get a grant for?
We can look at getting grants. Sure. I mean, we can always be looking at grants. Just have to see what grants out there that would be beneficial to buying such a thing. So
what would be your timeline for getting something like this?
well, I mean, we're not in a dire.
Right.
I mean, we're not going to. Tomorrow, we can still cut a person out of a vehicle with what we have today. If the county, as in the fire board, sees that we have money left over after we purchase these fire apparatus, and we can put that money to buying this equipment, then great. Right. If we need to wait and save money, you know, in a year or 2 or 3 years from now, and then buy it, that's fine too.
Actually, that's where I think and Ashley, her plate's pretty full right now. I invited her to one of the fire board meetings. I think what we'd like to do is sit down with Ashley, because we've got these 2 trucks We want to get them off our books and out of our budget. Then we know where we're at to go. That's probably our next priority on purchases, would to get one of these, at least one of these units for trucks. So that's where we're at, is we want to just kind of clarify our budget right now, because sometimes with the city and county, the way that was set up, it's somewhat confusing yet. And she can kind of line us out on where we're at dollars wise, so we can take the watts units out of that picture and then look at our whole budget and see if we can go ahead and order. So I think we should be okay, but I don't want to commit
Yeah, you
something,
don't
and we don't want to throw
Yeah.
a wrench in the wheel somehow with this. We don't make
But
sure we're
it's
due diligence on
a
it.
future tool that can be utilized, and, it's not like, we gotta have it today,
no, but it
the
is
convenience of it
definitely
would work a lot better.
Well, if you
Well,
get
by
it
far.
worked out, we'll see it in a,
yeah. I try to keep
Board
you guys
report.
pretty current on the minutes there on anything we've done. So, I think that's kind of the main stuff. We probably, once we get the watch trucks back, we'll be removing the Ford over at Canarado and putting it up on bid, which that thing should be gold. That pickup, it's a 1-ton 4-wheel drive Ford, and it's that era that seems to sell well. There's demands with such low miles on it. So
I think even Engine 11 would probably sell fairly decent.
yeah.
To be an international diesel to 93.
On that one, I wonder if it wouldn't be wise if we put a price on it and talk to surrounding communities like Wallace County and some. That's such a good truck, but it's a manual transmission. That's the only reason I think we'd get rid of it, because
It's kind of
This-
funny, yeah. We get
this younger generation
Don't know
is
how to
not
drive
familiar with
manual.
manual transmissions and an engine brake on when you push down.
That's right.
Ori could, well, Ori was Ori. He would let you know why he doesn't like that.
Right.
But there might be another community that would be, that's such a good truck. I was wondering, Wallace County or somebody, we throw a number at them before we'd even put it to an auction deal. If that would be an idea.
Back a little bit to the recognition deal. Are you gonna invite first responders from the whole area or just our community?
Think our community, because Thomas County's doing their own thing.
Yeah, Thomas County's been doing their own thing.
They're doing their
this
own
entire
thing.
time. They did their own 1033 foundation deal as well. So obviously we'd have Brewster there, us, Midland PD, Sheriff's Office, and if KHP wants to be a part of it,
EMS.
heck yeah, because KHP was a big part of it as well too. EMS, yeah. So yeah,
And
But,
just
yeah.
the sheer numbers, I thought if we do like something under one of the, everybody would just know they bring their own lawn chairs and stuff,
Right.
and we just do it right there, and it'd be a nice, easy way to do
Absolutely.
it.
like a barbecue or something.
Right.
Okay.
And then they could just go through a line, grab their food, and then just go enjoy a little time out in the park. And that way, if they want to bring their kids and stuff, there's something to do.
Keep us posted.
Okay.
You put something together.
Okay. But I just thought it was important that the county commissioners, what your thoughts were, and I got a feeling you guys, you know what they did. We
I
do.
think
I think
it's
we just
great.
acknowledge what they're. Even across the state, even the highway patrolman will tell you the first thing they said, "Wow, that was one of the worst ones they ever seen." But they said it was probably the most well organized, and things happened.
real quick.
We're so glad we got this guy as our chief.
Yeah.
Keep us even informed on the budget to that.
Yeah. I just didn't know if your thoughts, if you
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll figure where we want
Yeah.
to pull it from, and but just wanted to get your thoughts and input in it too.
I think it's great.
We hope we don't have to face another one.
Yes.
But no, I got 13 more years left and I'm retiring, and I'd never want to see or go through that ever again. So.
We haven't put that to a vote yet, you might have.
Oh, yeah. 35 years is long enough.
Oof.
So.
Well, what's even Trooper Todd and some of those guys said that I guess they quizzed them. They said I don't think they'd ever seen one quite that bad, and that's saying something.
It was the worst multi-car pileup in Kansas State history. So I've been told multiple times by different people. So.
Wow. And you think about that's versus
I know.
the eastern side of the state where they've got chaos traffic
Right.
on the interstate.
Low population area, but we have traffic there.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how much stuff moves down that highway,
Mhm.
you know.
And at a high rate of speed.
Yes.
We thank you guys and everything you do.
Yes. So, we will.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
So are we good on 3%?
Yes, very
Yeah.
much so.
Cool. Great.
We will talk to,
I think we got to be realistic on budget, but we don't want to be
Yeah,
greedy. either.
well, that's just the thing, you know, what we paid for a truck 2 years ago. And now, well, what we paid for a truck 4.5 years ago, or 875 days, whatever it was to get the truck, and then, you know, what's it gonna happen again?
We were so blessed when we was able to get that the engine 66
Mhm.
to buy that truck now would be
No, even Homer said, our mechanic, because we bought that thing for 100 and, what was that thing? 140, 150,000?
yeah, and it was
that was used.
yeah.
That was
That
used. And you said that today, market, you'd be probably paying close to 300,000 even
Yeah.
for used in
Used.
its position, the way it's
Yeah.
state that it's in right now. So, yeah.
And then that rescue.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been some opportunities, but I'll be honest with you, we shopped that. Every fire department in the country is looking for those opportunities now because the new stuff has gotten so ridiculously high that even the used stuff is
It's getting up there.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Any questions for us?
No,
No?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, thank you for coming
Sounds
in,
good.
keeping us posted on that.
You bet. Well, thanks, guys, and
Another-
I do.
There he is. So,
put him in the hot seat. We'll see you guys.
Thanks, Mike. We'll see you later.
thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Morning.
Good morning.
So back in December, I applied for a craft grant through KBIMS, which stands for the Kansas Revolving Assistant Fund. Kansas Board of EMS, which is KBIMS, puts this on. Mr. Everett he knows a little bit about it too. It is kind of a harder grant to apply for / get approved for, and it was my first time doing it, and I didn't think we was going to get anything out of this deal. So back late last year, Captain Ross and we came up with a purchase. What we would like to see on our ambulances is basically, which would have been handy for our mass casualty we had on the interstate, and like I said, this was prior to that, is basically a big monitoring system where you can hook up 10, you could hook up actually unlimited, but we were shooting for 10. Basically, it's like a portable cardiac monitor. So you could
Okay.
put them on 10 different people, and one person can monitor 10 people off an iPad. We thought this would be great for large-scale incidents. It can even be used as a deployable asset for anyone in the region. And so I put that in my grant that, hey, this could be used if requested. It could be, we could hop in a vehicle and somebody else could help use it. So I put this grant all together and never heard anything for a while. Well, then when Trump got elected, he put the freeze on the federal grants for a while. So we didn't hear anything for a while. And then just the other day, we did get a letter from the Kansas Board of EMS saying that we were approved to a certain percent. And instead of, we asked for 10 of these units, they approved us 5, which we'll take what we can get. The problem was they can't guarantee 100% funding. And that was stated that if they will not provide the full 100% funding, what can you guys come up with? And we put, we could come up with 75% of this project. So they came back and said, we approved on 5 of these devices. So they have their amount in here, and then they have in there what we have to come up with out of our own pocket.
Okay.
So you can see the local match there off to the right, the 4,857.13. That's what we got to come up with out of our own budget.
Can your budget absorb that right now?
Yeah, right now, we have the room for that, so. You can see what K-BIMS is putting in there, that's 14,571.40. So I feel like to honor this, we didn't want to back out of it or anything, but I think it shows some good favoritism from the state saying, hey, we're here to help you, but it also shows us that we can put a little skin in the game as well. And who's not to say that I can't go back in later this year and rewrite another grant and try to get the other additional 5. If we can show them, hey, we've been using these are working great. So.
Is this only for mass casualty, or can you use this one at a time? Is this,
You could use it one at a time. The problem that, so like right now in our ambulances, we have a cardiac monitor, and usually it hooks up to one patient, and then you can upload all that stuff to our software that we do over our patient documentation stuff. But then you got to take that monitor off and you got to put it on somebody else.
Oh.
So this could be a way to do multiple, like even if we get a wreck on the interstate that has 4 people in one vehicle, maybe they're all stable, but we
Right.
need to get a set of vitals instead of, I think we could do a quicker time of assessing patients by hooking 4 people up to one device and saying, look, I got 4 patients, this is what everything is, and we're good. So I think this thing we would be using quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, not just for MCIs.
No.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that's the whole thing is that it's classified as a mass casualty tool,
Yes.
but
but it could be used every day, or
every day, and
Well,
you're gonna be
yeah,
using
quite
it
often.
quite a bit.
Or if you get, a house that carbon monoxide goes off, you got full
Yeah.
family living in there, you need to check all 5,
Yeah.
6,
Yeah.
7 people out. So here's another way to
well,
throw this device
this will
on.
also provide assurance for the families that, okay, well, how do I know how my son's doing? Well, if he's in the second ambulance or in a different area, well, our vital signs are showing that he is stable at this time,
Is it Bluetooth? Is
Yeah.
that how it works?
Mhm.
Okay.
so. I have no problems with, if you got it in your budget, I would think that this would be a great,
And we're trying to reach out and find those grants and
because
and
I
stuff out
know,
there,
I know
but-
we've applied for craft grants several times, and this is one of the few ones that, I know we got a couple of AEDs early in the program, but to get a craft grant is a
yeah,
very good deal.
it was, I'd never done a lot of grant writing, and I'm not going to be proclaimed to be a professional grant writer, but this one was very meticulous, and it took some time to write this grant up, so.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the local match of $4,857.13 for the GTX mass casualty devices.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded, we approve the grant,
You
You
assistance,
guys keep
all in
copy.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion's passed. Mr. James has a check for us, so he'll take care of that.
Yeah. This goes to Ashley.
Hey, that's called cash flow.
Yeah, exactly. That's how.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Earhart,
Forever.
please. Nobody's here right now, so what can we do for you?
I just need you to sign this.
Oh, what is this?
You've been served.
Those are more certificates for the hospital.
Oh, okay. You guys are doing a great job of getting all these out to all these.
Yes, and they've been very much appreciated, by the way.
Yes.
Some good comments, so.
I'm not doing anything at all. You just sign something for me.
Yeah.
Actually, Roddy's been waiting here for you.
There you go.
How's the arm?
Still on there.
How many fingers?
3, I think.
What's that? like your colorful pen.
Hey, you know, you go to these conferences, you pick up all kinds of neat things, so. Thank you for doing this.
Yep. That should be it for the hospital, and now we'll have the first responders, and there'll be about 100 of them.
Well, that's what the packet that we got, that I signed over at the sheriff's office, it took me more.
That
than-
was all the hospital, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is finishing that up, and then we'll go to the first responders, which we have something, a bigger event sponsor.
Yeah, Brian was talking about that a little bit, on that, so.
You'll have a whole bunch of signatures.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Roder.
Well, I guess I'm here today to ask for an increase for the gravel. What we pay for the gravel in the pits. We've been at 75 cents forever. And I mean, I think to be able to renew contracts on the pits and get new pits, we need to raise it to $1.
Okay. Ton, yard?
Yards.
Yards.
I mean, and that's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, real cheap.
I mean, like I said, we've been at 75 cents for years, and it should have been raised a long time ago, probably. So,
Okay.
which would amount to 8,000 to 10,000 a year on the budget, probably.
Got a little bit of flexibility there, so
Yeah.
and we're partway through the year already, so.
How much do we spend a year now in
30, around 30.
30,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we'll spend another
Yeah.
8 to 10
Mhm.
increase.
Depends how much you're pulling
Right.
out for the year.
And usually we use, pretty much all that, because,
Right.
I mean, it'd be nice to haul more, but we haul what we can.
But this might also help entice opening up a couple new
Oh, I
pits.
think it will,
Yeah.
helps, and when you go to renew your leases on the pits, it'll help there too,
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, if we had to haul it in or go farther, this would cost us so much more.
oh,
So
yeah.
I make a motion, we increase our pay to $1
A yard.
a yard to landowners for sand pits.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, we increase. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Post same. Motion's passed. Okay. We've got see a note here on the citywide cleanup. Sherman landfill will not accept tires, refrigerators, freezers, or air conditioners. And
Right, and the refrigerators, freezers, and air conditioners, they brought them out before, and we were supposed to send bills to the people where they picked them up, and they don't pay for them. So we've been burnt and,
because you gotta be able to evacuate the
right.
Yeah.
systems.
Does the
Yep.
city know this?
Yep.
They do. don't
Yep,
they?
Kenton knows that, and he's
Okay.
on board. He said, "Nah, we don't need to take them because
Right.
if they ain't gonna pay for them." And it's hard for them to collect as they pick them up.
No.
So,
And we're not accepting concrete either, are we?
well, we can. I mean, it's whatever. Most of the time when they pick up concrete, they take it back to the city building because they want to crush it for their own use.
Yeah, okay.
But concrete would cost us $15 a ton for anything they bring out there. But
And so that, yeah,
and tires, that gets pretty expensive.
yeah.
Tires are pretty expensive to get rid of right now.
Because I think like the tire repair shops are $12, $15. So
Yeah, well, I mean, just for your smaller tires, it's $15 now, and then it goes up from there from
Yeah.
the size of them. So, yep.
Ron, I was wondering, did either one of those gentlemen that were out to Smoky ever talk to you? to get
The
back?
guy from that
Dave Salisbury.
Dave Salisbury from the state did call me like the next day there, and I talked to him. So, yep.
And I guess I'll put out a request over anybody that's gonna tear down any cedar trees or anything that if you are, let us know, because we'd like to put some of them, the fresher the better, to put into the Smoky to have habitat for the fish. To weight them down and so.
We still kinda need to figure out how we're gonna manage that too, Steve, how we're gonna set that all up and still think we need to put someone that on our payroll.
Yeah, we've got Henry's working out there now.
Yeah, he's, he takes care of the mowing and trash and everything else, plus all the cemeteries. So, yep.
Well, I'm still working on that because I did discuss with Kenny the one day. So, but we're trying getting some stuff to mark off where the aeration system. Rod's got the ability to put a trencher on a skid loader now. Is that
Mm-hmm.
so we can trench in the airlines to, and we find out about the boxes or the manifolds or.
That's what I
Well,
was gonna say, is there,
they got boxes around town. I mean, we can
Okay.
get them at Shores, Hoover's,
Okay.
wherever,
so to install this is a minimal amount, we still got some costs though.
Yeah, there shouldn't, other than somebody to wire up the electricity in the building out there to run it,
Okay.
Shouldn't be a lot.
Okay.
And we still probably need to buy a few supplies like fittings and stuff to hook it all
Right.
together.
Is that all out there now?
Well, we're still missing some of it. I know Kenny, he has some of it at his house he was redoing or something. I don't know.
So we will. Is that an aerator?
They decided to use any of those chemicals?
Well, I took them down there and put them in the building down there. And Dave said they did put, there was
certain
8
areas.
bags, and they put 2 bags in the other day. So, yeah. And I don't know, I don't know what he seems to think that the grass in the bottom ain't as bad as it was, and, so, and it's turning into a pond weed or something now, and so maybe it won't be as bad, but
Yeah.
I guess time will tell when it warms up more.
That's the thing right now, it's just like grass anyplace else or anything, it's just starting to grow, and so right now it doesn't look like much. And
The
so-
thing about it is, we wait too long, and then it's just
Yeah.
gonna explode,
Yeah.
and we'll have a mess.
Okay.
I'm still like Harvey though, I think we need to have more control on the county side. I feel the same way.
Keep working on it then to figure out what we need to do and see if I can talk to them, work with them on.
It's just awful hard to go to a volunteer and say, you need to do this.
Yeah.
We need to go to someone and say, hey, okay, this
Yep,
we-
'Cause if we're gonna
says
put
this needs to be done, at least.
if we're gonna
look
put it
into
in, we need to get it done.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So, instead of dragging it on forever still.
Are you ready to make a move on that? You guys gonna think about that a little bit more, Steve? What do you-
Well, I think we gotta figure out who we can get and what we're, a job description, I guess, would be the best thing. We gotta figure out what that job description is it, he's solely there? Is it a part-time employee, full-time employee, or how do we, work accordingly and being able to, we gotta stay within the ideas of the Fish and Game, because we're working with contracts with them and getting the fish and stuff from them. Yes, there's other people that have offered to buy the fish, but if we want to keep up with the CPAP agreements.
But right now, if anything happens at the Smoky Gardens, Does it go through you, Rod?
Pretty much right now, yeah.
So it, you know,
Does-
Yeah, anything that needs to be taken care of down there, yeah, as
Right.
far as,
you know, well, last year, 2 years ago, when we shut it down for a couple of days and did massive repairs on tables and everything like that. The nice thing is it worked out that it was, they couldn't get a whole lot of guys out maintaining roads or hauling gravel, and so we got it done in a short amount of time.
Right.
And, you know, it's all in availability of what we can get for employees that are not committed to something else at that time.
But sometimes I feel on what I'm hearing, communication even needs to go through. I'd like to see it go through Rod maybe a little better.
I like it to go to someone,
Yes.
and then that's on our payroll, they come up and say, okay,
Yeah.
now, we've been advised that these are things that we need to do. And then
And
we can say,
let's get
okay,
it
we have
done.
the money to do so,
Yes.
so you make sure it gets
yeah,
done.
I'm with you, Harvey, on that.
So we will still, because anything needs done, contact Rod and
Uh-huh.
he can get with us and
See, right now, we've kind of let Sanderson kind of do it all, you know, and he,
Mhm.
a lot of times he does stuff that, I mean, I'm not for sure what he's done, what he hasn't, see that?
well,
Right.
it's just like the aeration system, we need to get it done.
Yeah.
Before the season starts and have it taken care of. So. Okay.
So for right now, Rod, try to stay on top of it for us, okay?
yep, I'll do what I can,
Okay.
so,
We appreciate it.
yep,
You
alrighty.
can go down there and fish every day if you need to.
Right.
All
All right.
right, thank you.
Rod.
Ms. Cowan.
I can apologize first because that has me on at
it-
8:30 and I have myself on for 8:45.
It's fine. It
I'm
worked
so
out.
sorry.
We had
It-
other
it-
ones
it was
here, so
fine.
it worked
Okay.
out. So
Let me just get some pictures pulled up here. Okay,
okay,
is the floor mine?
tell us what you got.
Okay, I have been working with Zach Hildebrand at the city. My husband and I, Brandon, we have a rental property, this Jewel at 1004 Kansas. And so we are working to get it demolished. And so since we are trying to clean up the community, I would like to request that the landfill fees be waived for this project, if that's possible.
There's some question on that because it's a rental property. That's a commercial entity would be considered that, and then the receiving income off of it. The waiving of the fees, like when we do cleanup, is for the whole community to be able to pick up stuff but if you know, you're taking a complete house down or whatever, you know, then that starts running into, okay, if you do it, then we gotta do it for everybody else, and that runs into the biggest issue.
Sure.
So I would say, no, that we couldn't do that, you know.
I don't think we've ever done it before because then we have to do it for all the contractors and that money helps dig a new cell.
Sure.
Very expensive to dig a cell. So I hope you understand.
You know, what kind of fees are we looking at there? I'm just kind of curious how much.
It's gonna be the C and D fees.
Mm-hmm.
It's what, how much a ton is that? 32, 38?
You're I was
Something
thinking.
like that.
I think it's 32. I'll look for sure.
Yeah, it's a precedent,
Yeah,
like Steve
yeah.
said, you know, if we do it for one, then you're gonna, all the contractors that
Every
are
contractor will
bidding these.
be cleaning up.
Uh-huh.
and
Or
so-
if you do it during cleanup week, then that's the only time the whole city will tear down houses, see? And you would have a line going into that pit that you
Oh,
couldn't
Well,
service.
yeah, absolutely. For
Yeah.
sure. Not during a week when it's,
Yeah.
of course, during bad timing on that
Oh,
request.
11 a ton.
So,
Now, the first so much is free, isn't it? Is that
It's
still,
2,000
am I
I
wrong?
think it's 2,000 a month, 2,000?
Yeah,
yeah, 2,000 pounds a month
a
per,
ton, 1 ton a month.
Yeah,
per resident, for,
I believe.
So your first
First
ton
ton's
is free, but I
free.
know if you tear down a house, you have a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just, in my opinion, it's a precedence. I don't
I don't
I
wanna
don't think
open
you
up
want
that
to
can of worms.
start
Okay.
in order to continue to operate that cell.
Yeah.
I don't know what you feel like, Harvey.
Well, I agree. I was just kind of thinking about how much we would be giving up, or how much an
Yeah.
individual would give up, and then
You know, like I said, I'd
So
love
you
to
have
do
good
I'd love to
other
do it for
people
the
that-
Cowans, I would, but
It's more for the community.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
And
not
we
looking
get-
at
we
it
get
from the
that.
Cowan's
Yeah.
point of
We
view.
get
I was
that.
trying to clean up the community and, I mean, we don't actually want to tear it down.
Right,
And so that's kind of,
yeah.
the people that were in
You're
it
in a hard
before,
spot,
like,
too.
destroyed it.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you want to look at the pictures. I'm sure
No.
we all know which property in town it is. And so I'm still going through the court process to get
Yeah.
money from the people who were there. And so, yes,
it costs a lot to fix it up, huh?
yeah. Yeah. And so the way that they do it, it's based on the value of the property. And so you can only put in 50% repairs, 50% of the value in repairs, if that makes sense. And so that really ties our hands on
Wow.
getting it up to that standard. So it's sad because we'd really like to be able to fix it and re-rent it out. That way
Yeah.
our community can have more rental units.
Yeah, and we do need them, yes,
but-
we do.
Yeah, so, okay. Well, the answer is always no unless
Yeah,
you ask,
yeah.
so,
Well,
But we thank you
we
for
thank you for
dealing with
asking
it.
about it
Yeah.
at least.
sure.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time and my apologies
Yeah.
for
No,
the time
no,
mix
no,
up,
thank
It
so.
you.
worked out fine. We worked out fine there.
Okay.
We were
Well,
in.
got my heart racing when I walked in, and I'm like,
No,
oh,
you were
what?
fine.
And then I left my phone in the car.
So you have to kind of decide, cheaper to tear down or cheaper to try to fix.
Yeah. Yep. Unfortunately. So,
And that's, so,
yep.
well, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Good
Thank
luck with
you.
your project.
Appreciate it.
Is there anything else? I have nothing.
I don't have anything else. And are you still working on the Smoky Gardens
Yes.
thing then? Okay.
Yes, I've talked to Dave Salisbury, and that's where the trees, the cedar trees,
Yeah.
they like to sink them, and it gives them more habitat for
Right.
that, so, and talking to Kenny.
What is our obligation with the Fish and Game with that now, Steve? Since we no longer have the grant. So, and are they still,
They're still providing us with, we signed the CPAP agreement for this year again, and they're providing us with fish and consulting, and, I can't say exactly everything, but it's mostly, like, I know last week they were out and they did electrofishing to see what kind of populations they have, so that they can see what kind of stocking rates they wanna do, and be able to bring in fish to catch, but at the same time, try to grow a habitat out there. And so, I'm trying to, work with them, and like I said, I went out to see them, and I didn't even, by the time I had my troubles on my tractor and got out there, I missed them, so I'll be in contact with them again. It's a kind of a slow process for me sometimes.
And so is he the one that brought up the cedar idea?
Yeah.
Like if we
Yeah.
had some,
He said the fresher the cedars. Yesterday I came to town, and I met a pickup with a bunch of trees cut on it, and I go, oh, I need to chase him down if I could. I thought I'd recognize the pickup, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But so if anybody's cutting down a tree, and they're talking 15-foot trees.
Yeah.
And sticking out there, let us know before you cut them down so that we can make arrangements to, get them out there and get them put in.
But see, that's back to, we need to let Rod know.
Right.
Uh-huh.
The
Make sure that it gets
communication,
done.
that
Yes.
communication is a
Okay.
big key to it.
Well, I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
Been moved and second, we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's passed, meeting's adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.